This was draft.
Can we listen, please?
This was domestic violence. The second was drugs. Zero infertility. Poverty. High school dropout. Divorce in women. Unwanted pregnancy.
That is how that point came out. Because now we are getting very many of our little guys entering into now marriages. Others are moving that area. Others are now getting unwanted pregnancies that are aborted, so they are affected seriously.
Okay. Why I'm asking is that first we're not there in your group. So I don't want you to come and explain for us.
It came from the gold mining area. That's where we brought this, and even that was now our women. They are moving with those men because they have the money. So they have left their homes and they have gone to the areas where those guys are. And that is where they are making that small business of gold. They have left their marriages. Then even the high school dropout. Yes, it's also the same.
Even the rape.
Then even the theft.
And theft?
Very many now. We are insecure. In NAMAYINGO here. The thieves are there seriously right now. And now some of them even don't have where to be. And some of them have resorted into stealing our own goods. So we are affected because of that mining that has come there. And even now, the fishing community, they have chased them from the lake. Now they have come back to the land now to take from us our products. Maybe if there's another. Then roaming animals, these ones we had already discussed. Even when you use that street now, you will get animals just on the way. And now these people have come to our community and they were not counted here. And you know when we are given medicine, we are given medicine according to the population. So now the population is greater than what they used to plan.
What was planned?
Yeah, so now we are facing that. But then even this. Then, of course, everything now is ending. With floods, you die. Something you die. Because if you don't have any money, you die. We looked at the gold mining areas whereby people have flooded there. So now they are giving us this burden. For us people of NAMAYINGO, we are now facing this burden. Because of the gold in that place, it has brought us this burden of unwanted pregnancies and teenage pregnancies that we didn't have before that gold was there. Can you please first stand up and stretch yourself? You do like this. This was our question. What are we already doing to address climate change in NAMAYINGO? These are our findings.
Okay.
1. Creating awareness on the tree planting. First, we go down there in the communities. We do the sensitization. We create the awareness for everybody to see the goodness in planting trees. That is the first thing we do. Then the second one, we do the planting of trees. After telling the community the benefits and the good outcomes of tree planting, so we go on the ground, begin planting the trees.
Not what should we?
What are we doing? Yes, what we are doing for now. And exactly from here is we are going again to add on. Yes. Number 3, people should keep away from swampy areas. I think you can see that the government has got a policy of keeping yourself away from the lake, giving it 200 meters away from it, so that when the running water is coming, you're safe, isn't it?
Yes.
You're not affected in any way. Generative farming practices such as reducing on chemical use, improving soil health by planting different types of crops. You know, when you're cultivating and you're like using a lot of chemicals on the soil, it also gets exhausted. And after the soil getting exhausted, when you grow crops on it, you will not get good yields. So you try to reduce on the chemicals, the usage of chemicals on the soil to maintain the health of the soil. Encourage women involve themselves in the making of energy saving stoves. Why and how? For us, we've gone down there, we've so much encouraged the women to make the energy saving stoves. And how good are they? How best are they? When you cook on the energy saving stoves, one, you would have reduced on DBV. How? Because we've got men who are like, whenever he comes back, he needs warm food, isn't it? And with the energy saving stoves, once you put your veggies, food there, you will never find the food cold. It is always what? Warm. Beatrice, what is it when I go to school and I'm like, can you give me an opportunity and I make for you this and in turn you give money? A contract, yes. In fact, we are going ahead to request for contracts in several schools. This is a reality we make, and they give us 150, 100, like that. Only that we don't get frequently, once in a while. This is what we do. We go ahead and plant trees in the schools. And how do they help? They help in shade, fruits, fresh air, yes. Conducive learning environment. Yes. That is good. Establishment of the environmental clubs in schools. With these clubs, this is what they do. You know, when a child is taught about something, there is a way he or she practices it. Yes. And puts it in practice on a daily basis. Even he can go at home and practice it. Establishment of trees. In so we come here on the rights of the environment. This page after illustrating to the pupils. Of course, you never know how they are going to be planting them at their home. So here comes, they may plant and scatter everywhere. So we first teach them also their rights, how they will be doing it properly, okay? Yes. We've been doing that. We teach them the rights of cleaning the environment. Like for example at home, when they are planting over, they go back to practice this planting. They will plant normally, they will not throw through it. So that's their rights. They know the right of how doing it.
Mama Police, because that is the name. Yeah, I'm representing today. And our question was, what more can we do to save the climate? So we say there is number one, regular sensitization on the policy related to the climate change. I know these policies are already there, but most people they don't know. Even in the house here, including me, I've never seen it. But we hear this one is there. But when you Google, you find it there. Then regular enforcement of climate change policy. We have been talking about that the government is chasing people from the water bank. So, but the policy of the government says from the water body, you must be 200 meters away from the water body. I remember now people, they were not aware. For them, as long as the water moves, they also move where the water has left. They are going the other side. And then the government had already marked where the people were supposed to do what? To stop. So, meaning that the government has taken long without doing enforcement. Like maybe 30 years, 50 years, people they didn't know. Now the new generation, they are the ones who are there. So if they continue doing this regular enforcement, it will keep reminding people that we are not supposed to be at the water body, which is not less than 200 meters. So enhancing a law on tree planting at the district level. I wish district could put it as a practice. At the district level, they could put it as a what? As a practice. After the grass what? Good. That the planting tree is a what? It's a law. Can be like a bylaw. It can be. They can debate about it at the what? At the council level. Then they say we have passed this what? Like how they are debating over the disco matangas, finite fundraising. So if they agree at the district level, we can raise the level of planting, increase. Then awareness creation at the family level about the tree planting and proper waste management. The awareness must be created at the family level, like us now, who have got some message from here. We should also take this message up to our family level. We teach our children the use of what? Planting the tree, and how can we manage the what? The waste. Like she was giving us an example, that in Japan, they have that law. Even here in Van, you cannot go with the camera and you just leave it there and you go. The cameras are everywhere capturing. You can even drive even from here to Kampala. But when the camera has captured your vehicle, they will arrest you from Kampala and will bring you back here where you have thrown the waste. So if it is really done it at the family level, and people have it in mind, the children have it in mind, like the way she gave an example, that there was a kid who was moving on the street of Japan. Then when she saw a waste, she got scared. And because they had already put in their mind that any waste must be removed and put in the garbage, maybe that's it. She had to pick it very fast. She kept it and went with it up to where she was going. She packed the garbage and she threw it there. So if it is taught at the family level, how we can manage this waste. And everybody now knows it. Even in the market, people will not see where there is what? Waste. Because they know the danger of waste. Then community awareness on the rights to a clean what? Environment. For the current generation and the future what? Generation. If we do this awareness that everybody has the right for a clean environment, then even this for us the current generation, we can still pass it to the what? The future what? Generation, because they will keep on what? Carrying it forward. Keep on teaching others. Then advocacy for a proper, fair and equitable compensation policy. We have talked about compensation. We say it is not fair. It's not fair. There are others who are not compensated at all. There are others who are compensated more, others are less. So we should advocate for that compensation policy, so that it should be fair and timely to help the people who are victims here. Then follow up on licensed miners to ensure that they follow their appropriate standards. We talked about miners. For them, after getting their licenses, they just they don't mind about the danger and the risk on the people of the area. Then we have talked about the policy says that I own the land from top to 8 feet. Then from down there is for the government. Now if it is for the government, now they have dug from down there. Now me, I'm hanging on top. If they finish digging and they go away, should I also, with my land here, on top here, I fall down the pit? I will enter inside because now I'm hanging on what? On here, on top. When the rain heavily, it will soften the what? My land on top, and I will do what? So, it's also to follow up on those licensed people. See how fair are they working with this land, this one who are owning the land on top. And then there is the advocacy for fishing funds to solve the problem of the fishing community. We have seen how they are also affected. We have talked about it. Can we do some advocacy for the funds? And these two, because they say that each person a good legal fishing years is at rate from 2 million and above. And our community may not afford. So if they are changing like that, then let them also bring cost and money for everyone, not for a group of people.
Then from the national action plans, we come down to the district action plans. And what is the importance of the district action plans? Diana talked about localizing sometime. Do we remember? But the other one she was talking about was national action plan on women, peace and security. Yeah? Here we are talking about climate change, and climate change also has its what? Action plan. Because we are binding to several bodies in the UN that we are supposed to implement these things. So the country implements them on a national level, then down at the district, we are expected to localize. We get it from what it says at the national level, because we are in different districts and experiencing different things. Yeah? So you see here, a landslide does not occur in NAMAYINGO. That is not your reality, not so? But it is the reality in Bali. So when you're coming to the district action plans, you're localizing to the actual problems you have in the district, the actual needs you have in the district, and what are you addressing. That's how we come up with the district action plans. But it is even sad that we don't even know what is in we have an action plan, the district starts sometime. Beatrice. Yeah? So, this is my appeal that the next time we are maybe developing some of these things, I know the action plan is between a certain period to a certain period, right? They expire. Remember when we were talking about climate justice and how we are supposed to include voices and different categories of people? That is the time. We bring them, you see, so that they are part of the conversations. Because what could be a reality for you is not the reality of someone down there in the village. Yeah? So we may talk from this level where we are assuming everything is well because we are well, but it is not the reality of the rural woman. Yeah? down there, and yet we are not putting them in these conversations. We are developing plans, but we don't even know whether they are actually actionable. Do they apply? In the village down there, do they apply? Oh, we are just speaking our English and our document and beautiful English, but it's not speaking to the realities of the women down there. Yeah. So now that we have learned about it, next time we are developing our action plan, we make sure that we have all categories of people included, yeah, and their realities. How do we shape an action plan that is actually responding to people's realities? Understood? Thank you. Lobby for partners. Part of this lobby, maybe I will share an experience from the local action plan we've been developing from Women, Peace and Security. So in these districts where we have worked, they don't necessarily have local action plans like on climate change, but because climate change is also an issue that affects women, peace and security, we incorporate those issues in the plan. And this is the use for these plans. So that when the partner comes, you say, no, look, this is where the greatest need is. The greatest need is we don't have water, people are going hungry. Can you do something about this? And that's how you lobby. So before you know it, we are using it as a lobbying mechanism. We are using it to fund our what? Our local action plan. Sometimes partners will give you, they may not necessarily give you, but they will put something in these baskets in the fund to see that you get some money to implement these activities. And that's why you need it. As a district, as women leaders, you should always push that you have this kind of what? Plans.
After that, I have to be knowledgeable. And also, as a mediator, I have to listen to the persons I'm mediating. After listening, then you look for the solutions, and they want to bring the solutions. Yes.
Who brings the solution? You or the people you're meeting?
The people I'm mediating.
Okay.
Yes.
So you learn basically the principles of mediation.
Yes.
And how to mediate within those acceptable principles.
Yes, and also I learned that we women, we have powers. We can participate in each and everything. Like, let me appreciate Honorable Beatrice Rumbi. He had showed interest in speakership, district speakership. That's a point comes. What I'm questioning myself. And you remember I told you that come 2030, that is it 31 or 30,
The next season.
yes. I will be standing as a district person in my own district.
And what interested me in all these days I've been learning, I learned about the pillars of early warning. First of all, early warning indicates that it is a sign of what is going to come. I learned there were 4 pillars. One of it was data information, data gathering, and information. Data information and gathering, whereby collecting data is unimportant. Another pillar was conflict analysis. Under conflict analysis, you're able to tell something, you must analyze. Another pillar was discriminate and communication. Communication adds more value. When you're there, you must communicate of what is going to happen. You tell somebody, this is going to happen. Another pillar, the last one, was early response. Actually, early response adds another good value to the conflict. You respond than listening before the conflict comes. Thank you.
Here I learned about referral pathway. Yeah, referral pathway is saying we refer patients from community to facility, then again from facility to community. Yes, that a patient may be identified from the community. After being identified, the VHT will choose maybe a local leader who may have come across that person can give a referral to a nearby facility for management. Then reaching there, maybe at that facility, maybe they don't have maybe logistics or material to use, they can also do a refer. Yeah. Then from there, that patient, if he comes from the community, the person who referred has to make a follow-up to know whether this person whom I referred, did she only go or no. Then from there, I think he or she comes up with what? The conclusion. Yeah. Then also I learned about advocacy. That advocacy definition and roles. It is actively supporting a cause. After supporting a cause, it influences decision. Now, after decision, it creates change.
It's a very good initiative that has brought us together now. And even after here, what are we going to do? Are we going to remain with the information that we got here? We need to go ahead and empower other women outside there. How do we mediate them? How do we solve and manage issues of conflicts? How do we analyze? Because some of us we feel not knowing on how to analyze a conflict. A person comes, he tells you things, you also, instead of good mediation, you just send him or her what you feel like. And in order to analyze, go deeper, think about the issue. What is the real issue? So he's telling you what is the real issue that it needs proper analyzing as we bring our people together through mediation. Asante sana.
That we learned about conflict analysis. And about conflict analysis, we tackled on two things. We drawn an onion that when it was all, and when we want to know what is inside that onion, we cut it. We cut the onion, and we looked what is inside the onion. We looked about positive positions and the interest and we talked about the tree, what brings, and we talked about the GBV. We talked about effects of GBV and core problems. About effects of GBV, what effects? We talked about early pregnancy, early marriage, and the core problems. We talked about death, and we talked about STI diseases.
Yes.
So that when I go back when I go back in my village, I can teach
My other young leaders.
First, I take my appreciation to Madam Diana. By the way, on behalf of my friends, we are so much appreciative.
Yes.
We are so much appreciative. Madam Diana, you've taken us throughout this session and we've so much enjoyed you. You're such a good teacher. But above all, regardless you're a good teacher, there are certain things that we didn't get well that we shall be understanding them well from our friends, from each other. To me, I learned so many things, but above all, the mediation topic was so good. It taught us a lot. We came to learn a lot about it. Because some of us have been gambling around, mediating over what we learn, what we don't know. Okay? And there is something you talked of that interested me. I feel like, Betty, in case you feel you're stuck, you cannot carry someone who's in problem. What do? You refer. That refer thing, I liked it. Because we are always in villages being disturbed every now and then. One can come to you several times on the very, very issue. So, thank you so much for giving me a good direction.
Thank you.
And when I go on the side of the reproductive health, I had so many questions about it. I didn't know more about the PrEP, the PEP. I had just been hearing Beatrice telling me, but I didn't know about the PEP and the PrEP. So when Madame Sandra, by the way, she also explained it so well, so well, and we came to know. And I came to know more about how we come in contact with AIDS, the measures, and how to prevent. And from here, I will be a teacher in my community to create awareness before my fellow women, at least to know their rights as women, to have a voice on their own, to have that confidence in them as women. So, we just call upon you, your visit, your funding, your consideration amongst the women of NAMAYINGO. By the way, we've been calling ourselves to be as people who know more, and yet we didn't know. So we thank you so much. I might not talk about everything. The advocacy, we've talked about environment, and so everybody moves in an environment whereby we've not been knowing certain things, and now that we've come to know or to be in the know of our rights in the community, of our rights in the environment, in the clean environment. So we hope to advocate, we hope to sensitize our fellow women down there. Otherwise, I thank you so much, and I will remain appreciative.
Obwati wafuna munene engeri engeri enekane bikwataka yose kunyala kwabanga kwafekitinga engeri ya clinics kwamala kwabanenge wali price wildfires. For me, what I have learned is about sexy and gender. We say sexy, the biological difference between a man and a woman. And we say the gender is the act to do, the ability to do something. So we talked about that in gender, what a man can do, a woman can also do. Like dealing, lifting, cooking, and doing something else. The second point, we learned about the challenges we women we face in participating. First of all, we talked about fear. I may want to do something, but I fear. I myself. We talked about the level of education. I may want to contest for a district councillor maybe, but I fear that I didn't went to the school. The third one was our cultural norms. Like the other time they are saying that women may not contest on maybe presidential. That if you were a woman, you cannot contest. But for now, you may contest. That's what I learned.
Okay.
Because that is what we call feminist leadership. Then the one thing I unlearned was perspectives. You know, I realized that we all have different perspectives on things. But all through life, I have always had the thing in me that when I know it is right, I'll try my best to explain myself, to state the advantages, to let everyone understand that it is right. How about you follow my opinion? But from the perspective thing, I learned that we can see things differently, and it is okay. And actually, it is okay to understand people's opinions, and maybe the best we can do is respect them and maybe help them see differently, but not forcing them to see things the way you see them. Yes, thank you.
What I learned about the female involvement in the peace and security resolutions, and I've also learned the challenges which they face during that involvement. That is number one, finance. Find the ladies sometimes they lack what? Finance, because men are the control of what? Of finance. And when the budget allocation is there, they are also not considered much in the government. So they have that limited resources. They also have low education because they believe, in fact the whole society believes that most women are not what? Not educated. Then there are also social and cultural norms. They believe that women are supposed to be in the kitchen, their weight should not be high. And yet they can contribute much in what? In this resolution. Then another thing is, but I mean the four pillars of the what? Of the UN Security Resolution what? I mean UN Security Council Resolution, which was made 1325, which was formed in the 31st October 2000. And it was formed on what? On four pillars. And I wish we could adopt these four pillars and even take it home. It is going to help us to change. And it will also help women to know that they are also important. That is it, participation, one of the pillars. That if a woman participates in that resolutions of peace and security resolutions. It can help. Then they see protection, because after she participated, she's now bringing the idea of what? Protection for the all people, the community, maybe for the family. She's there now to do what? To protect, because she has already brought the what? She has come in to participate. Then meaning that we are now preventing. The prevention, that is it, pillar number 3. Then pillar number 4, we are now, there's relief. Because now out of that struggle, after me participating, I've done protection, I've done prevention, meaning that I've relieved very many people from that insecurity which was there. Then of course now, we come here now to start counseling people. Let us recover from this effect of this problem. We now get a way forward. What can we support? Psychosocial what? Support for the what? For the community. So those are the things which if we take it home and we go and give it to people, to our mothers in the village there.
nga bampa ekifo gye NAMAYINGO jamukweswale ngambo ne sente zigala bampa ekifo kikisobola kale nafuna challenge eyo nairako ekyokubiri nafuna esindu koti mediation basomesa esindu sinuna bati omuhaye mulayi abakeraki kube bahaye bakeraka engosi ndayi oliwo bwekubiri kuba wekubiri daha wemba musiposilana ngokeraka omuntu esindu sinayi kale makesinjekere muno mangi
What I've learned through this session from the beginning up to where we are, we have learned a lot. I'll talk about a few. First of all, we looked at issues that increase the reproductive health. And we had so many issues, but I'm going to talk about high rates of teenage pregnancy and early marriages. We have seen that here in NAMAYINGO, most of our children are dropping out of school, sometimes due to poverty by the parents, sometimes poor parenting at home. And now, like on what I've achieved, what am I going to do? At least I'm going to encourage my fellow women to upbring well their children. We sensitize them on sex education, because some of our girls are growing without knowing the challenges when they get into early sex, and what makes them to drop out of school. Like I'm going to go outside there, encourage my fellow mothers, parents to have a positive parenting at home, so that we get a clean generation. Then another issue that I also learned about climate change. We see that we have been seeing that climate change shifts from either weather or temperature. And most of our people have been destroying our environment, most especially through charcoal burning, cutting down trees. People are cutting down trees, they are not planting more. But now I've learned, when you cut down a tree, what I can also pass this information to others in the community. When you cut down a tree, plant another one, to help in the future generation. Because I'm here, I've planted trees, I've cut them down, I've planted others to help my children, my grandmother to also benefit. This is going to help our mothers to fight for the protection of our environment. Then I also learned on the cause of destruction of wetlands. Most of our wetlands have been destroyed. For example, we have people, they just leave the animals moving up and down, destroying each and everything, and of which these wetlands can help us on the water issue. For example, we have water scarcity, but when we improve on these wetlands, like for the women, you find that in some areas women are going very far looking for the water. But when we have prepared these wetlands properly and maintain them, we can easily access water. So this will help me to pass information to the community and my fellow women. Thank you.
And I take interest about conflicts. And what I'm going to talk about, why are there more conflicts in marriages? Conflicts in marriages. And actually, as a mother and as a married woman, when I go out, this is what I'm going to teach my fellow mothers and my fellow married women. So, what causes conflicts in our marriages is one I'm going to talk about, early marriages, whereby we see young children being forced into marriage when they are still young. Then the second point I'm going to talk about, drug abuse. Like when I get married to a drunkard man, my husband is a drunkard man, he drinks, and me I do not drink. Sometimes we may not do what? We fail to understand each other. Then I also talk about religious intolerance, whereby I'm going to give my example. Let's assume I'm a Muslim and I get married to a Catholic man. Of course, Catholics, for them, they do pray on Sunday. We Muslims pray on Friday. So there, we may not agree on other issues in our marriage, and that ends up breaking our marriage. Then I also talk about cultural norms, whereby I'm going to give an example of the, not in bad faith, I'm going to give an example of the Bishu people. For them, they do circumcise, you know. It is culture by culture for them, they do what? They circumcise. And in Tanzania, you do it by option. If you want, you can take your boy to the hospital and they do what? They circumcise. But if you don't want, you don't. So then if I get married to a Bishu man, for them that's their culture, and they like to say that sometimes that can cause what? Can cause conflicts in our marriage and end up doing what? We end up breaking up. That's what I mean.
When I learned about how we human beings, we are I learned about how we human beings, we are contributing in the destruction of the climate by overdumping the rubbish anyhow. Another thing I learned more, this goes to Madam Diana, but this is exemplary to me, and the change has begun with me. It was on 15th yesterday, but once I never forget. There's something we talked about that. Never begin what you never do what? Finish. One time I was a proposer of GBV in my house. After just a small thing. Now I use that when my husband comes back, we go together for baby. We go together. One time he came back, he said, President, I said, I'm busy. He kept quiet. Next time he came, he said, I finished bathing. I said, what? He came back. There is a way he treated me. I also got annoyed. I said, no, maybe this man had another issue. It is just not bathing. Not bathing. Sincerely speaking, I got annoyed for that man for 6 months, and I was telling him that I'll never forgive him. But when I left this place on 15th, it was yesterday, but once, after Madam Diana talking about that, he was not around. I reached home after having my supper. I climbed my bed, I got my phone, I called him. I told him, my husband, my dear, I've forgiven you. I said, what? Madam Diana, you are my Diana, I'll never forget you.
Funiro ngo bosomesa abantu nyibanijira musyalo. Sebedira no bakusilimu. Dira na kubi solo byaya bikona kutawuni kungira.
Tebirya bintu by'abantu. Tebidira na bindi. Let me check.
Yes, you can check.
Ebyotaka misaada kuhenga ndikwataka byosamba manda biwulawo.
Mwenyikia kulembera abali kukusefu butinzi ndi bala types of power. Any power within to power over. Kutika power over kukangema era Madam Diana Paul yasomesa naijukira olundi twali mu kibiina. It was last year. Trying to see the secretary azirawo n'abangemye mu kitabo wawa abazirawo ngemamu buti mweno omutwalonda mu ng'omusomesa yaida naye kale yaida n'ifose nayitidi yasika ekitabo era agezaako yakintoolako kale yakozesa power over to me nawulira bubi aye namaana akyerekereza kale akokeno yegamba ino power over yatoloko obuyinza ate nga nenze yali suppose kutwalako olwo olunaku okuwandiika aye nako omusombe nafuna mumwezi types of power.
I was able to learn on conflicts. That one of the major causes of conflicts is that we all have different perspectives, but sometimes we tend to force our perspectives on others. But to avoid conflict, it's best that everyone is entitled to their perspective and we do not have to make them feel bad about what they think is the truth. I also learned that there's a lot of climate change in NAMAYINGO from the different stories that people shared. And I also realized that we as the women who are actually going through this training, it's our role when we go back to our communities to make sure that we work together with the communities, work together hand in hand with all the partners around the district to be able to stop or to reduce climate change. Another thing I learned is that we as women, we are actually naturally peacemakers. That is because we understand, most times we tend to understand where the root causes of the problems have come from.
For us there in Vedic, we have been cutting down trees for charity because some other people, they are poor. But since I learned this lesson, I've learned to see that I'm going to go back there in the village so that I tell my fellow women to start planting trees. Instead of where they cut one, they can plant like 5 of them, they can plant like 10. Thank you.
Amongst them with Catholic fraternities and Muslim fraternities, the Orthodox churches, the everyone, even the Pentecostal churches were involved. And what I realized when the facilitator was just beginning to present, that since we had invited the the religious leaders, the first thing she did to bring their attention was to read for them a scripture. She read for them a scripture in the Bible. She read to them a scripture in the Quran. Later, the attention of young faith, other faith leaders. So they really liked her. They participated freely without fear and favor because of the scripture that the facilitator opened with. So it was really a take home for me that when we call different people at different levels, we must know how to handle them. That if he's a Muslim, you begin with Assalamu alaikum. Then the Pentecostal, praise God. The Catholics, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and everything. So the scripture
I encouraged these participants to participate freely, and they came up with a very good action plan, which they are going to implement. Other faith-based leaders even say they will give out tree seedlings to the churches. They even pledged to continue with their sensitization of the community members. Every Sunday, the action planning is starting immediately from this very Sunday. Yeah, that was the other side.
When I came here the first day, I was the HMI Soko person. Now I am the human leader. So this training has benefited me so much, and I started implementing it yesterday with my children, some of the things. So what I learned from this training, I have come to know that there is nothing for us without us. So we have always been complaining, they don't mind us, women, they are discriminating us. But we were not participating ourselves in the decision making. Then this training, it has helped me know that however much we have been complaining, little did we know there were some people who were thinking ahead of us. Those were the people of Women International Peace Center. So now they are empowering us to understand that we are equally important in decision making. And it has helped me understand that women are the bridge for what? For peace. And I've also told us that research has showed that the conflicts that are resolved and women participated, the peace can last for 15 years. It has challenged me, then I said we are so much powerful in the community. So amongst all things that we have learned in this place, it has given me to rethink now that I have to share with women what I have learned from here, and I have to educate them what has benefited me from this place, and if possible, we come, because now if I go away from here, I will also train like 2 or 3, and if those ones embrace what I have told them, I would have also preached the message, and those ones also can preach. And at one point, I believe we are going to come as now women in the community, and we shall speak for the benefit of our community, because it has shown from here that we are the ones who suffer most when the challenges are in the community. The women, we are the ones that carry everybody. So we have to fight hard and see that we lighten, we make things easier for us to do what? To do. And it has helped us to know that we also have to decide. Yes, we have to decide if there is something that is being discussed. So at least let me also bring my idea. And they will embrace it. That one, I acknowledge it, that from here, now all of these women are saved, or they are now what I don't know how they call in the other religion, whereby I believe we are going to do the most wonderful thing to change our community, because all what we have learned from here, that climate change, what, it is us that we are to change, because littering of the environment, we are the very women who run in the evening with the kavera, black kaveras, and we can throw the rubbish. But now if we went and told women that no, it's our responsibility to see that these things are not what? Thrown like that, then our environment will change immediately.
I'm happy that every topic was touched.
Yes.
Yeah? the reflection started from the beginning to the end, which means they were all important to us, and I pray that we take it back to our respective communities. We say that if we close our books and hide them, we have not done anything. If we get information and then we don't disseminate, and we don't prompt early response, we have not done anything as women. So we are counting on you. And after this session, I'd like to welcome our dear cow. Thank you for coming back. You were here the other day. You left us with the women. I believe you've also heard what they have been able to learn and unlearn from the sessions. These women have been so committed that all of them were here from day one, from Monday to today. And each day they were leaving here after 6. Have I lied? No. Most of the days we left after 6. Willingly, without forcing anybody. So they have learned a lot. We realize that there are still a lot of gaps. Particularly, what they didn't talk about was the context. We started day one with analyzing the context in NAMAYINGO. They talked about the negative social norms, which continue to put women down and exonerate men. And this has affected the women in a number of ways, including the sexual gender-based violence which is happening in their homes, economic violence, physical violence, and they are also experiencing emotional violence, and it has also increased the rates of HIV, according to what the women think. There are a lot of issues of multiple sexual partners. They also told me that the infection rate is at 5.7% as of 2024, and they believe it must have increased from that. The women also say that teenage pregnancy, the rate is at 27% in NAMAYINGO. So you find that we are doing badly in terms of those. Then the aspect of climate change, they have also talked about it in that context. And there were particular issues raised around charcoal burning, destruction of the environment. They have also talked about the effects of the mines, the floods, droughts. Then they talked about, there's something that they were discussing last. It was about the chasing of the people from the water, from the fishing area. And also, some people who are living nearby, after being told that they're supposed to move to 200 meters away, it affected part of their land. But we also know that that one is a measure of protection in case of floods, because people shouldn't stay very near the water in case of anything, like the climate hazard that happens around that place. But most importantly, they also noted that there is low participation of women in leadership and decision-making processes. They particularly pointed out to the district not having a district peace committee that handles issues of women, peace and security. Then they also pointed out to the fact that some of the concerns of women have not always taken into consideration, and they also say that within this period, there are structures that will be put in place, like committees of council. Can special consideration be given to women? Can we fill the quotas which are in policy and make sure that it's also implemented on ground? They appreciated different programs like GROW. They talked about PDM, some of the programs that have benefited women. Because we were also saying, let's utilize the opportunities that exist as women. Yeah, they appreciated those programs and continue to call upon the district to give special consideration to women. Then there is one particular thing that kept coming up. I don't know what we are going to do about this, because peace starts from the family level. Peace starts from the home. If there is no peace in the home, there cannot be peace in the community. You cannot give what you do not have. And within the homes, there was already an outcry from day one. The relationship between the spouses, intimate partner relationship, is not well. There are issues to do with the conjugal rights, which is not being fulfilled, and it ends up causing a lot of problems in the marriages. People are bitter. That is what I noted from day one, because there were discussions that every time it gets back to conjugal rights not being fulfilled. So I don't know if there are initiatives to bring men on board within even the district programs or any other programs that people are organizing. How do we speak to the women? How do we speak to the men? How do we target the girls and boys with information? And also, how do we ensure that there is collaboration? And one thing that all of them talked about was power over. They talked about the powers. And particularly they said men are using power over, which is the negative power, form of power, even in their marriages. People continue to use power over. Yesterday we had a man, because me I was wondering. There's a gentleman who came in here and I asked him, and he said, he proved the things that the women were saying. Yes, he said that it is happening. And we asked why it is happening.
Because they are
yes, it's a term they use to have not gotten well. Bahongo. No one is supposed to say anything. Women are not supposed to say anything. They are not supposed to complain. But they are stuck in these marriages. And in the end, we start seeing the high rate of HIV, the reproductive health complications like the cervical cancer, because people are having multiple partners. And there was also something that came out around low access to health services, low uptake of health services, because we discussed, one of our topics was on reproductive health rights, then another one on HIV, prevention and response, and the role that women can play in that. Looking through all these problems, the core areas that we were looking at: conflicts, HIV, reproductive health, and then climate action. It was realized that women suffer most. They are the majority victims. If we look at reproductive health, it is the women, basically, that carry the burden of the reproductive role. When we come to HIV, the number who are HIV positive, the majority are women and girls. And also, if it comes to the burden of care, it is still the women. And in a way, they end up suffering the triple effects of all these challenges. When it comes to climate action, it is still the women suffering most from it. So the women of NAMAYINGO want something to be done about this, wants to be considered, given special consideration. Even the laws, the policies, the implementation should focus on ensuring women participate, because when they participate, they are able to bring the real needs on ground, and it ends up addressing conflicts right from the roots. Yeah, so Bonakao, you're most welcome to come and give us your remarks, then we will proceed with the action planning. Thank you.
Center for this very wonderful training, which has been wonderful. No, there is a phrase. Tamusini, the members I saw here when I came to this training, the 100%, everybody is there, and there is no movement. See. So, I wonder, good idea. I listened to what I've been learning for the last 5 days, and very grateful. International Peace Center, this training. I also want to thank NWOC for lobbying to have these people. Thank you very much, and the districts, we appreciate, and we wish we could even have several of these ones, so that we have so many ambassadors, because the issues here are we training are very key, and is one way how we are going to fight GBV in homes, because I'm very surprised here that we are implementing a UN resolution arising out of what is a training of human rights. So, thank you for yourselves.
Asante sana.
Nikapa Fantazia.
Asante sana. Ongeza tena.
Then walk.
Asante sana.
So, it was more, I mean, if it was not more, what? Wait. Thank you about benefiting. Thank you then. Now, put another place. I think if there is something else, some funding, please come again, we handle. They get exposed on what taxed a few districts. There are only three. One which have change action approach. But the problem is, how does it get funded? We implement it. That is a very big challenge. The honorable members here know that. We have it. Cutters of what? The Islamic government embassy, which helped us what to come up with one. So participants have gained a lot of skills.
Yes.
Because the health staffs here, the honorable councillors here, there are community members here, there is police here. So please, wherever you go, as you are going back, they try to work with person what you have picked from here, then implement like one of you say. Controlly work with very few people to implement this, but gather some people, tell them what you have learned, and let those ones help you what person that you have learned, so that we have a peaceful what NAMAYINGO. So it's really good for something around the peaceful what resolution, conflict resolution. I think those are the issues around the families. So you be ambassadors. I think let it start with you at your home, then later gather some people around you, then pass this information to them, the skills, so that they also pass those skills to others, and in such a way we shall work, children work with benefits. And work is done. So I think this will be the second time you are working with this PC, International Peace Center. So International Peace Center, think what to fund. Work, because previous year I think they had so many trees planted that it was not the whole district. Now, begging that if you could what? Fund them so that they cover the whole district. And the other part which support which they need, which you need to avoid someone participants from. They include it because it is the farthest what support county. Yet they have the same problems which are also within these other parts of. So I think the next time invite them so that they also part of it. Then the trees fund more so that the whole issue can be covered. Then our participants, like I said, a UN resolution is passed by United Nations for countries which are what? Including Uganda. That is the headquarters UN, is it in New York? So it was passed way back in 2000. Now, see, yes, yet it was here. From Monday. So, I think let's take this one very importantly. Please know from now that the ambassadors want that we have this and it become a very good example so that if there is any problem around GBV, HIV, conflicts, start coming to you, consulting with you. Then I also heard about the churches. Let's talk about this. Because it's unfortunate, I think the religious leaders are not here, but it was resolved. Then let it be talked about every Sunday, every Friday in mosques. So that people who go to churches, mosques, also here so that can get some of the religion. So, I want to wish us very good implementation of what we have learned here. And it is good. There's only one subcode which is not here. Many, because I know people move. There are some of you who even get to Loro and then catch you here and find yourself there, here's assistant. So please, when you get an opportunity, go to what? Pass on this. Message is huge so that the whole district gets covered. Then we reduce on HIV, then GBV is a problem, then child marriages, pregnancy, so I told this. But you know, it's very bad to read from the table. Because we are talked about, because we are among the last, before the district is reading very badly. So, I think let's improve the picture. So that we get the district peace committee. But I think after swearing in the new council, I think we shall think of forming one. Then quotas for women. Yeah. She also what? She also a member of the incoming council. Then quotas for women. I think we have tried. Because can now start from a portion from even the council what? Let's start with the council business. I think women are represented there as required. Then we have also district quota system from senior 6 going to university. I think we have been ensuring that is there. And we implement it according to the required words, quotas. And then the GPV in the family, I think this one I've talked about, but I will request. I think I will request for your report from here so that we look at it and then see which department can handle what, and then we take action when you complete. And then the power over, I think this one. You know, because now, had someone give me a personal experience here, and he can generally say, the family starts with what? A wife, family, a man, and then the wife. But you need to start first things first. Because when you start married, not in a proper way, many things won't get organized from the start. But because we know there is what? The introductions. Because I've met a lady, then they agree that we marry. then of course the lady has to introduce the man to what? If that one is not done, and you're not doing some other one, because that one opens, then it gives responsibility to both the man who is visiting, and then the girl who is what? Who is introducing the man. In a very what? Serious way. Because now, you know, you will get ashamed, because you will be fearing both of you now. Now, we went for an occasion of introduction. How do I chase away this lady when I went to what? Their form of introduction. Now, start fearing from that level. So, if we start with the first things first, then people start with responsibility. Then from there, of course, there will be either dowry, or these days they have simplified. Because when we go for introduction, then we carry everything. Then from there, you're a Christian, you wait. Then once you have wedded, because for us they say, it's already good now to what? Separate. So, when some of the things are done, the way they are supposed to be done, then I think we shall reduce on that. Because you also be fearing to start beating your wife at home. Yeah? Because now how does a wife now go back to their place complaining that it's man? So let's start with the first things first. That we have that. Then we avoid the power of us.
The list here, how we are going to divide ourselves. Yes. She will come and read for me the list. After, let me first explain, then you will read the list. So, we have the issue. We said we are talking about issues, not problems, not so. So we have the issue. And we have 4 thematic areas. Our issues are formed therefore thematic areas. 1 is reproductive health, rights. 2 is HIV/AIDS. 3 is peace, efforts, or initiatives, peace. Then 3 is climate smart action. So, under each, we need to write what is it that we are going to do. This is the action. What action are we going to take on each of these issues? It can be 1, 2, 3, depending on the number of action under that particular issue. Okay? Then we'll list the actions for each of the issues. I think maximum is 4 per issue. Yeah. Minimum is 4. You can go beyond that, but the minimum is 4. Then, when will it happen? You state. Okay? Where will it happen? You state. If you're going to do that as an activity, for instance, if you're going to conduct a dialogue, when will it happen? Where will it happen? You indicate. Then who will be involved? Under who, we are going to look at who are we targeting with the dialogue. Then we also write the responsible person. Then on this column, which is not well seen, is the resources required. We need to quantify the resource which is required per activity. Is that clear? Very, very clear? Okay, thank you. Is there any question around that? Uh, 17th of April, and this training basically has been to enhance the capacity of these women in peace building and leadership skills. It has been a leadership institute, and in this leadership institute, the women have gained knowledge and skills in peace building, women, peace and security, conflict resolution. They have gained knowledge on reproductive health, HIV, and climate justice. Women are now able to analyze conflicts. They learned how to use different conflict analysis tools. They are able to identify different forms of conflicts within their communities and analyze them and participate in mediating them. So they also gain practical mediation skills. And they are able to, they have realized that they have not been doing mediation the way they are supposed to do it. So by them learning the clear procedures and the principles of mediation, principles of conflict resolution, that you have to resolve a conflict up to the end, up to conclusion, and putting in place the basic principles, that is neutrality, confidentiality, ensuring that you use the right skill, you listen, give a listening ear, give time to the people, to the conflicting parties, and you are not, as a mediator, you're not the one with the solution to the problem, but your role is just to help the conflicting parties or individuals to come up with a solution, which is a lasting solution. They also identified the challenge, which is low women's participation. This is attributed to the cultural and negative cultural and societal norms that tend to put women down, and in the end, they are seeing increasing gender-based violence. We are not saying that it is the women or it's the men causing violence, but the fact is that GBV is happening. It is happening in the communities, in the homes and families, but also remembering that peace starts at home. And you cannot give peace to your neighbor when at home you do not have that peace. Then they also identified high rate of HIV, which they said is at 5.7%, and that is as of 2020, end of 2024. And they think that maybe it has also increased. And they also talked about reproductive health complications, which is associated with multiple sexual partners and low access to low uptake of health services. For instance, the women said they didn't know that the procedures for checking cervical cancer has changed. Most of them said about 2 or 3 said they went for a cancer screening, cervical cancer screening, and because of the method which was being used at that time, they vowed never to go back. But when they told their friends, the other friends also said they are not going. So sometimes there's an information gap. So we encourage that let women seek health services. Let them participate in leadership and key decision-making processes. Let them also participate in peace building, because when they participate, chances are that they contribute to lasting solutions. Because women speak about the real issues, they bring the real issues on the table. And research has also shown that peace efforts that involve women are most likely to endure or last a longer time. Parties do not get back into conflicts immediately, but if women do not participate, chances are the conflicting parties get back to conflicts. And we were basically also looking at where we derived the mandate to talk about these issues is the UN Security Council Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security, which Uganda is a signatory to. And currently Uganda is implementing the 3rd National Action Plan. That shows the commitment of the country to women, peace and security. At district level, districts are supposed to develop the local action plans on women, peace and security, which stipulates actions under the 4 pillars of women, peace and security, which is looking at participation of women in key decision-making processes, including peace building and conflict resolution. Then the second pillar, which is looking at protection of women and girls in conflicts and post-conflict situation, because in most cases they end up being victims of they are mostly survivors of this conflict. Sometimes their bodies end up being used as a tool for conflicts. And the next one is protection of women and girls and prevention of all forms of violence against women. And the fourth one is looking at relief and recovery. So the pillar of prevention is looking at safety and security for these women and girls. Then when we talk about relief and recovery, we are looking at efforts in rebuilding and reconstruction. If there are those initiatives, why can't women also participate? If there are efforts around peace building, around restructuring, having systems and structures in place, having mediation committees, having peace building committees in place, like maybe a district peace committee, why can't women also participate? Women also needs to be targeted. Even in local leadership, women also needs to be targeted, and if they are targeted, they are able to front women, peace and security issues, which are issues that affect everybody. It's not only for women. It is looking at the basic needs, it's looking at availability of services. That is what they are bringing. They are not struggling for positions that who is going to take what, or whose child is going to be employed where, but they are looking at what affects the entire community. Then one thing that the women talked about is the fact that negative societal norms continue to affect them, and they've seen that it has affected them in different ways. Because of the negative social norms, women have been left behind. For instance, they talked about property ownership, like land, ownership of assets, ownership of resources like land. They are not allowed to own. Even when it comes to registration of some of these properties, it's not in their names. And they end up missing out if they do not own resources. Yet, the society is shifting, and the roles are shifting. There were roles which were originally society are designed for women, others which are designed for men, but in a nutshell, these roles are shifting. You find that paying fees, these days women are paying fees, men are paying, women are paying, but also there are some instances where men have gone on holidays and left most of the domestic care on women. Issues of paying school fees, taking care of the family, providing for the families. Some have abandoned those roles to women. But emancipation is not about abandoning roles to one gender. What we are saying is, why can't both genders work together, join hands, share power, such that they are able to contribute more to the development of the society? It's not about bringing men down and taking women up, but striking a balance. If a woman is bringing soap, can a man bring sugar? If a man is doing this, can a woman do this? Such that one sex is not overburdened. Another thing that we looked at is ethical and feminist leadership. A leadership that strikes a balance between those two sexes. A leadership that does not discriminate against any gender, against any race, against any tribe, and a leadership that strives for equality. A leadership that is accountable. Being ethical to the women means doing the right thing, even if no one is seeing. They looked at inequality, equality, and equity. And the women are saying there's need for equity. Let's shift and ensure there's justice for all, there's fairness for all, without discrimination. Diana Oroma from Women's International Peace Center. And here in Namayingo, we work with NOOG. because we are a women's rights organization that works with other women-led organizations at community level.
Amaina ninze omukyala Erumbi Beatrice ndi program manager w'ekitongole kyebeeta Namayingo United Women's Group mu WOG, ekitongole ekiri mu Namayingo Town Council eyaganibwa mu Namayingo District. Ekitongole ekyo kikulemberwa abakyala era kyakola emirimu egy'abakyala. So tubaire mu ssomo gw'ennaku 5 okutandika olw'ebbalaza twatandika ennaku dda mwezi 13 tuuka ennaku olwaleero ennaku dda mwezi 17. Ekigendererwa eky'omusomo kibaire okulungamya oba okwempawaringa abakyala abali mu bukulembeze kubona mbu ensonga edda obutabanguko mu maka dikendeera, ensonga egemagana ku siriimu kuba siriimu mungi nga twena bwe tuyidi nti Namayingo eri mu maadi 75% of Namayingo is covered by waters. Twaba tulingirira ku nsonga edda climate change okwonoona obutondo obw'ensi, nti abantu bagireke boonoona obutondo obw'ensi. Omuntu atema omuti asimbye emiti emeka, twonoona obutondo obw'ensi mu ngeri etali the same. So tubaire musomo guno okutuwabulamu ng'ino nga ife muno mu Namayingo Town Council ekitongole kya NUOG mwe kiri wesanga nga waste management, omuntu anwa amaadi amala yasulawo akadoome bwabanga obukyafu bungi butawuni yona yabanga yidula obukyafu. So ife ekitongole kya NUOG tuvireyo twakoba nti ensonga eno nkulu tulina okweta abakulembeze mu biti byona kyonva obona tutandise ku n'abakyala abali mu kulembeze bona bave wano buli muntu ajje mu sub county ye asobola okusomesa bakyala banaife mu sub counties. Omusomo ogwo era kutagetinga all the women leaders mu sub counties dona okutoola ku sub county eyeddolwe naye eri wala gye tutaleese representative naye nga tusuubira nti bano abatrainize bona bajja kuba nga bajja maiso okusomesa abantu. Omulanga guno tugutwala eri ensi yona okusingira irala nga ife ba Namayingo district leaders nti twewale obutabanguko mu maka. Abasaada bali tusala ekyo neigulo amaadi tuli gatoola wala tubaire n'ensonga nningi tetwogeire kukuba ekirala ku kintu is especially on climate change era kyaviiramu obutabanguko iza amaadi ndigajja wala enkuda wala lwisi nja kuyira mu maka saawa nga 2 ed'obwire andwire awo omusaada akobe nti muna saawa 2 dino ovaawa obutabanguko bukole ki butandikira awo. So n'ebyo ebintu byetuli kwewala nga tukoba nti mu kifo kyakujja ewala okunona enku tukozeewo ki tusimbye emiti kuba bwe tusimba emiti enkudi gyatuba kuki kumpi awo ng'omukyala asobola okuva wano yajja wale yatoolayo ki enku yafumbiza. Then ensonga ey'amaadi tulina okulobinga ne bannaife aba Namayingo District Local Government kuba NUOG ng'ekitongole kyewandiisa nga kikola wansi wa Namayingo District. So tulina okulobinga okubona nti tufuna boreholes edimala mu Namayingo mu bitundu eby'endawulo at least every village ebe ku borehole okwewala omwiduzo ogwo ogusobola okuviira ku omukyala baamukuba ewaka olw'okulwa ku naikonta.
Okay. So go as well, which message do you give to this bano babaire trained then you malize Namayina go next year?
Abakyala bano abaire trained guno omulanga gujja emuli tibanange tukola omulimu era nga bwe twafominze WhatsApp group ensonga dona iwe oba oli eyo otrainize mu musomo guno gw'ennaku 5 tokoma wano wakoba nti omusomo gwereiraawo tulinimenti okujja mu maiso okusomesa bakyala banaife ti bakyala bonkaye n'abasaada somesa n'abaana baife ab'obuwala abaana basome tulwanirire idembe eino nga NUOG tukola ku human rights idembe eri abantu bona mu biti byona oba oli mulwaire wa siriimu oba oli ku obulemu ebyo byona tubikola ku. So twefe kuino nti tulwanire idembe eri abantu oti nabo n'abaana baife basigale mu masomero ke basoma. So tujje mu maiso bwe tusomesa banaife era emisomo gino tijjakoma emisomo gino tumaze omusomo guno omusomo ogwiraku tujja kuinvolvinga mu ba stakeholders abandi mu magombolola kuba tutandikire wano ba district leadership aye tulikwika paka wansi mu magombola bwe tunava mu magombola tuike ku parish bwe tunava ku parish tujje ku village mu district yona yona okutwalira awalala.
Sangala,